So as promised, guys, we have two videos on Velma from CBR.com that are absolutely hilarious articles that I've found, and it's something that there was just no way that I couldn't make videos on it because my God, is it just the ultimate version of a shill? And on top of that, it just literally makes no sense. And they basically bask in the glory of emasculating Fred once again, or emasculating the men in general. And by doing so, these super simp males, by the way, who are in this TV show, they're still, even though they're super simps, they're still calling them toxic males. That's how ridiculous CBR.com is. They are calling them toxic males, even though they are very obviously not toxic males. And they try to make Fred seem like one in the beginning, and then he ends up being a shill for feminism, and that's all just so Velma can reject him anyway, so she can have a girl boss moment and be super empowered and all that stuff. But we're gonna get into the article, guys. Like I said, this one comes for us from good old CBR.com, and it says Velma solves the mystery of its most toxic male, and it's not Fred. In season 1 of HBO Max's Velma, many assume Fred is the most reprehensible guy in the show. However, that title actually belongs to a shocking hero, by Ronaldo Matadin. Now, this is the first article that I've seen talking about this stuff that is not from a white liberal. Assumingly, this guy actually is a brown boy, so there's that, which I find interesting. But he did make an article that I made a video on previously, which was pretty hilarious because he was basically shilling in the same exact way that he's doing now. So he is no different. It says in HBO Max's Velma, this iconic Scooby-Doo characters have been reinterpreted. Oh, that's a good way of putting it. For a mature audience. I don't know who actually was into this show, who's on the mature side, but that's besides the point. With Velma being a spiteful high schooler, desperate to find her missing mom, as the investigation continues, Velma gets kissed by Daphne, who has skeletons of her own. However, these personal stories take a backseat as Velma's serial killer keeps going after high schoolers. I don't really think that these personal stories take a backseat, because the funny thing is, a lot of the stuff that goes on in these episodes has nothing to do with the serial killer. Very little. Probably about 15 or 20% of it has to do with the serial killer. The rest of it is just stupid drama that they're trying to spin up and make about the entire show. Like these characters, to say that they've been reinterpreted is putting it very, very lightly. And I know why they use those words. It says what's interesting in the show frames this slasher around the toxic Fred and his family. Toxic Fred? Seriously, toxic Fred? They can't even feed himself, can't dress himself, can't bathe himself. He's toxic? Okay. Hinting they've got a murderous past. But as episodes 3 and 4 unfold, it turns out that despite his elite mentality and extreme misogyny, Fred is not the most vile guy in the show. Shockingly, it's none other than the person everyone assumed was the nicest guy ever, Shaggy, aka Norville. See what I'm saying? You can't even be a simp. Like you can't even be a simp. You can't even be like a nice guy, because they're still gonna call you toxic. They're still gonna vilify you. That's why I don't know why people pander to these hardcore like feminists, or in this case, a male feminist, which is even worse. Like I feel like male feminists really are the worst kind of people, because they're like ultimate infused soy boys who think that if they're the nice guy, they basically like the Shaggies, right? So if they think they're the nice guy, they're gonna get into the woman's pants because they're gonna give him a chance because they're the nice guy. But most of the time, they end up ending up in the friend zone. And then the moment they're friend zone, they start talking trash about the girl who didn't give them what they wanted, even though they were supposed to be playing a nice guy. You get what I'm saying? And I guarantee you somebody like this is the exact same way. But what's funny is that Norville is the super simp, right? They made him into a literal simp. And they are still making articles about how the fact that he is the most toxic character. It's, how do you win? I don't understand. How do you win with people like this? It's weird. Not that you want to win with people like this anyway, but it's just that's the point. Like how do you win? You can't. It's a lose-lose game. It says Shaggy has a huge crush on Velma, which is why he worked Velma's serial killer case with her. He's running the school paper, using that as an excuse to get closer to Velma, but he ends up seeing Velma and Daphne together. At first, Shaggy lets it slide. He's not Shaggy, he's Norville, making it seem like Norville is a true friend who won't pressure Velma. However, he quickly outs the kiss to Velma, confessing he was spying on her. Norville then keeps pushing Velma to seek therapy, adamant it'll help her correct her mistake or affirm Velma is bisexual. This is gross behavior, as Norville is ignoring boundaries and disrespecting Velma's privacy. He comes off as invasive and conditions her based on what he perceives to be society's norms. To top it off, he reveals Velma's secret to the school therapist, his father, and all the students at the school assembly. Norville's problematic behavior proves he's inconsiderate, selfish, untrustworthy. It's arrogant of him to think other people will convince Velma of her sexuality and that she should give Norville a shot, which are all hallmarks of an unhealthy friendship. So you mean to tell me that everything that Velma was doing with Daphne is totally okay, by the way? Because Velma literally pushes herself on Daphne to the point where she literally tries to convince Daphne to be a friends with benefits, even though Daphne literally just said before that, we need to just be friends. We can't move this forward for the betterment of ourselves. And she's like, well, we could just be friends with benefits. And she's like, no, we got to just be friends. She's literally trying to push herself on Daphne. And not only that, Velma literally read Daphne's private diary to the entire freaking school, the entire gymnasium of girls as they were doing that tournament. She read her diary, her private diary. So you're calling Norville toxic, but meanwhile, Velma did the exact same thing, if not worse, to Daphne. And not only Daphne, but to Fred too. She completely framed Fred for murder. Like, dude, I'm telling you, male feminists are the worst people. Nobody likes a male feminist. This is exactly what a male feminist does. He thinks if he panders to women that he's going to get girls that are going to be like, oh my God, you're so enlightened. You are absolutely amazing. I just want to give you everything. And that's not going to happen, Matadine. It's not going to happen, sir. Are you even a sir? I don't even know anymore. I know you're a dude, but you might pretend to be else. You know, I have no idea. Norville even tries to use his own form of therapy on Velma before visiting prison to extract intimate details from Fred, which is what she wanted to do anyway. Velma, God, Jesus. After finding out Velma is crushing on Fred, he wants to use his information to manipulate her, not caring how it hurts a mentally fragile Fred in jail. Oh, now we care about Fred. Norville even fakes being Daphne's friend, helping her find her birth mother while being condescending to her. Everybody is literally condescending to Norville. Everybody's condescending to him. That's why he is a cuck in this show. He's an ultimate sim. And the fact that you can't even acknowledge that people are being literally horrible to Norville and that you're trying to cherry pick the times that he's trying to do things in his favor when he's too busy helping everybody else, it's ridiculous. Like you are clearly trying to shill for feminism. It's disgusting. It's soul-crushing to see Norville thinking of Daphne as a pawn, mining intel to get Velma to like him. It proves he's way more objectifying than Fred, as he doesn't think about how he'll hurt Daphne and Velma's budding romance. Luckily, Daphne tells him he needs to find love elsewhere when she catches on to his toxic behavior. Thus, Norville's storyline depicts nice guy syndrome, a form of male entitlement where men believe they're owed a relationship with a woman as a reward for being kind to them. That's you! That's the person who's writing this article. I guarantee you're like this. I guarantee when you meet women in real life, you tell them about how you are a writer for CBR.com and you show them all your amazing virtue signaling articles in the hopes that they're going to think that you're something special and that you're down for the cause. It's the same exact thing. You are clowning yourself if you think you are not like this. It's amazing to me that I cannot believe, I really can't believe that this guy is attacking Norville of all characters. Seriously, Norville of all characters, and calling him toxic for doing stuff that literally the women in the show do twice as bad over, not only to themselves, but to other men. It's ridiculous. He's obviously blind. He's turning a blind eye purposefully to the way the women are acting because he's trying to defend them and shill for them because he's a male feminist at the end of the day. I promise you, it's ridiculous. But of course, I had to do a video on it because it's hilarious to me. I think this is like the funniest. When I read like CBR.com articles from certain people, I'm starting to get to know the writers based on how they write. So I just find it hilarious and I have to share it with you guys. So anyway, thank you so much for watching this video. I hope you did enjoy, and if you did, consider leaving me a subscribe. I would greatly appreciate it. Don't forget to like the video, comment, let me know what you thought, and I'll see you guys on the next one. Hypnotic out.